Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social, Season 3, Episode 32. And what a day it is, folks. We've just beaten Crystal Palace, which I believe it was 1,466 days, which I was reminded about constantly, that we hadn't beaten Palace in. And we've finally done it, chaps. And of course, we are joined by the
same amount of days that Jack hasn't been on the podcast.
Exactly.
No, it's been far longer than that.
It's been a long time. But we of course, do welcome Ben Spalding and Jack Albion. Great to have you back, mate. And of course, Ryan is unfortunately not with us today just because I think
he got arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested
last night.
Yeah. In all the madness.
Him and Jack were scrapping the Palace fans. Jack managed to get away, but Ryan wasn't quick enough.
Ryan is spending the night in
Jack knows his way around the trains and knows all the hiding places in Southern Rail. Or Southern Fail, should I say, after last night. Come on.
But yeah, on a serious note, we don't actually know where Ryan is, but he just basically can't make it on today, unfortunately. But he'll be back for the Grimsby game, of course. So, boys, let's start with, Ben, you mentioned it. Let's start with the travel. What, Jack, as our resident train expert, could you give us any insight whatsoever as to what happened last night?
Travel correspondent.
Yes, travel correspondent.
Nice. It's like on Southeast News where the travel correspondent is like 6 other roles as well. That's what I. Travel and sport and everything. But no,
we should have you doing this outside Portslade Station or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it seem authentic.
But no, it just was a bit of a mess. Like, didn't get there in time for kickoff or the goal, which was quite annoying. And then my phone ran out of battery as well. So then I had to go to the ticket office and get a paper ticket and collect a charger off my mum. All in all, it was quite chaotic getting there. And to be honest, it just summed things up for quite a chaotic evening of football with the power cut halfway through the game, which was that was really weird. That was
me trying to charge my phone because I nearly ran out of battery as well.
I think
it messed up the mains.
This game, both home and away, there seems to be some maybe slight over-policing of it. Police are restricting trains to certain type groups of fans. So it'd be. I think there are a few mistakes made. I don't think it helped that it was like half an hour earlier than usual. So it's 7:30 kickoff. You've still got cars on the road from rush hour and commuter traffic on the train. So there's a lot of different factors. But yeah, travel getting there was pretty chaotic. But then when it got there, it got better.
A lot of people missed the game, didn't they? Like yourself. So a lot of people weren't too happy with the transport. But hopefully, in future, the clubs, not just Brighton, but football clubs in general, can hopefully listen to fans. Because I know a lot of fans, even you, Jack, I saw tweeting saying, "Can you delay the game?" But it obviously fell on deaf ears, which is what they do, I suppose. But anyway, let's get into the game. Ben, just give us a quick summary, mate. Of course, we're gonna go into it, but just give us a quick summary on the game itself.
Since he saw it all, he saw all the games.
To be fair, no, Jack, my whole beginning, before the match was very similar to you, but luck was on my side. I did manage to charge my phone at the Victoria next Portslade Station, so it didn't run out of battery. And then we were queuing for the trains, and we got to the middle of it. Then we just thought fuck it, so we ended up getting a cab there. Got there 2 minutes before Sonny March's goal. Ooh. Great timing. Yeah, so that was really, really good fun. I was in the South Stand as well, which was actually a fun experience. Probably the best game to be in the South Stand because you're right next to Palace fans giving it. That was so much fun. So good. Everyone in the South Stand done themselves proud because we were giving it to them so much. But yeah, the game, it was, apparently the first 10 minutes they were dominant, weren't they? Apparently.
So I actually had the luxury, I suppose, not the luxury, but the luxury of watching it from home. So I got to watch the whole game. And first 10 minutes, I'll be honest, Palace had much better chances. Edouard had a big chance, Elise big chance with great save from Steele. They just looked the better team. To be honest, they looked more alive. They looked more alert. We just looked a bit sloppy. It didn't really seem like we were sort of ready to go in a weird way. A lot like the trains. But it was it was one of them games where we started off really slow and I was a bit like, shit, have Palace... I think they had 2 shots on target in the first 10 minutes, which is 2 more than they've had for the last 3 months. So, in the first 10 minutes, I was a bit worried. But, we obviously, got our foothold in the game.
that was literally my first question to the person next to me. I was like, have they had a shot on target? And I think it was like, yeah, they have. They straight away they had a shot on target, something like that. Yeah. But apparently the Amex crowd they cheered or they went "Oi" when they had their shot on target, which I thought was good.
Yeah, that's good. Chat.
So yeah, fair play to the Brighton fans. And then so I guess after that we just came into the game really, didn't we? And the Solly March goal just was maybe wasn't deserved, but for what we've been doing the past seasons under deserved, we kind of deserve it. A bit more clinical, hopefully, so our Solly Marches at least. And yeah, it was a really, really, really good finish. Also, shout out to their goalkeeper because I think he just turned 19, thrown into one of the biggest games for Crystal Palace and Brighton. Fair play to the kid. I don't think he could have done too much.
Well, I disagree.
He looks so small, by the way. He looks tiny in the game.
I heard. Well, when you watch him on TV, it didn't look that bad, but maybe in real life, obviously, it's very different. I'll be honest. He was poor for that first goal. I thought.
Oh, really?
He could have saved that. Maybe not could have saved it, but I think he could have done better. Maybe to parry it. Or it sort of went through his hands. He went like that, and it sort of just went past his hands. But no, it was a great goal. Like Matoma's through ball, March's finish, the touch and finish. It was great. It was a great sort of team goal. But I think if I was the keeper, and I know he's young and it's his first game and he's been thrown in it, all that kind of stuff, I get. But I think he'll look back at that and think, I could have probably saved that.
He did make some great saves later in the game, though. That one from a corner. That was a fantastic save.
The one with his feet, was that the one?
No, from the corner, McAllister flicked the header across.
Oh, yeah.
We did the header there. That was.
And then Estepinian as well, when Estepinian had that shot and he saved it with his feet. Yeah, so
he did very well. But I think I agree with Maz. Like, he definitely should have been doing better than that. But like I think the context of the situation, a very young keeper on his debut. He did pretty well overall.
No, definitely. But you got to give him credit where credit's due. To be fair, as much as you probably don't like Palace, but you got to give him credit. And then talking in the first 10 minutes as well, I know again, Jack, unfortunately, you weren't able to see it, but I thought actually Veltman was actually quite shaky in that first 10. But then from that point onwards, he was immense, like phenomenal. Yeah, one of the best, arguably the best player on the pitch, alongside with Caicedo, in my opinion. But that first 10 minutes, I thought he was a little bit shaky. I thought Zaha being back in the team actually helped Palace a lot. They looked much better going forward, and they had that sort of swag about them again with Zaha in the team. But then from that sort of 10th minute onwards, I thought Veltman done so well. And
what are they going to be like without him next season? Because I do think he will go. It's going to be an interesting one.
100%.
They are so shit without him. Well, and even shit with him sometimes as well. So,
mate, they haven't won a game since December, which is I just find that crazy. I know we've had our bad periods, but Jesus Christ, that's like something else.
We're through it.
Yeah, but
I liked the some fans, some Palace fans, who actually giving us credit. They were like, Jesus Christ, these boys can actually play football. They're like miles ahead of us, and fair play for them to admitting it.
Interesting they say that, though, because I didn't think we were brilliant last night. Like, no. I by no stretch of the imagination, I thought we were like, you look at the West Ham game and the last game where we just tore them completely to pieces, or you look at like the Liverpool game, those levels of performances are so much higher than what we did last night. But I think what a lot of Palace fans, and it's interesting to read their thoughts, is that we're just such a good unit at playing this way of football that even when we're not doing it amazingly, we're still doing it a lot better than a lot of other teams even attempt to try it. So for me, that was we did really, really well. I think it just shows the standard that we are at the moment, that we're looking at a pretty dominant performance over Crystal Palace, our biggest rival, and we're walking away going, that's nowhere near our best.
I think that, Jack, I think that's the difference though between what we've had in the past few seasons. So like that usually is the other way around, isn't it? It's like Palace played really shit and they've managed to get a result, whether it be a draw, whether it be a win, the Mateta, Benteke volley, all those kind of moments where we've been the better team and they've just somehow, got a win out of nowhere. So it felt like sort of, we've done roles reversal last night, and we were like probably, I wouldn't say we were the worst team by any stretch, but we weren't up to what we know we can play, and we got the result, which is everything we want.
I thought they were going to get a goal at the end as well. The way it was happening, I was like, oh my God, they are. And then, the whole Steele thing when he gave the ball to Gross.
We'll get on to that.
Oh my God. True. Sorry, I'm skipping.
Before we get on to that, let's start with you, Ben, on this one. Of course, the first goal, let's talk about the goal. Great team goal, I thought, as we've touched on. Yeah, just talk me through what you liked about the goal, who involved.
Well, I love that it was Solly March, because that's obviously another goal against another goal against
on the
Palace.
15th minute.
Yeah, that is crazy.
How's that for you?
That is so mad.
7th goal of the season as well, wearing the number 7.
Number 7. Yeah.
Beautiful. Woo! And also, I know, Maz, a couple of weeks ago you mentioned about how he was second most informed player,
statistically,
behind Bruno and then Rashford on WhoScored.com.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's the highest of any Premier League player since the World Cup. Great. And not picked for England today, of course.
We will get onto the whole England thing.
Later
on.
But no, just even better. And then Brighton tweeted saying they were like, I think there's a picture of Solly March saying something about they added England with like a phone emoji.
I saw that last night.
Obviously, never did get their call up. But yeah, it was even sweeter that he scored a local lad. Yeah, fair play to him. But I absolutely love Solly March. I think he was given that goal against Leeds as well, which takes him up to 7. Mm-hmm. And since Boxing Day, since the PL return on Boxing Day, only 2 players have scored more non-penalty goals than Solly March. And that's Erling Haaland and Marcus Rashford.
Wow, look at that. There you go. Gareth Southgate. Don't know what you're looking at, mate, but fucking sort it out, son. And Jack, I know you missed it, but did you get a chance to watch it back?
Yeah, don't worry, you haven't reminded me of that at all. It was it was only the 569th goal I've seen this season. I haven't seen. But no, I just thought the goal was really good. It's interesting the way that De Zerbi plays and that we almost tuck the wingers inside. Like the way that Matoma comes across.
That's a really good... Yeah.
And March is almost running in a striker's position and Welbeck's almost dropping slightly deeper. So it's this way that...
I've noticed that with Estepinian. You talk about, like, Estepinian sort of plays weirdly as like a fourth centre-back, but on the left-hand side. So he's very central. Yeah, it's interesting.
We sort of, I don't know, I think it was just sort of, without being like a De Zerbi masterclass, you can just see how we're so good at doing the roles that we've been told to do since his appointment, really. And we've come in and we've just been so much better and all over the place. We've been playing fantastically. So it's another great team goal, another assist for Matoma. So all the FPL players who put March and Matoma in for the double get the
double game week.
Yeah, get 2 assists and 2 goals. So it's all right.
No, 100%. And then talking about making it 2-0, we had a chance where it was played across the Welbeck, and then Decore, the man of the hour, he made a great challenge, to be fair to him. Credit where credit's due.
He's pretty solid, isn't he?
His interceptions, right? His interceptions were actually really good. Like, I think he made 5 before he got taken off, or 6, which is quite ridiculous. I actually thought he was one of their better players, to be honest with you. But then, of course, we've got to talk about he should have been sent off. Let's be real about it. He had 2 challenges where he should have been sent off. The first one for me was outrageous. I don't know, Jack, we'll start with you. I thought it was a clear yellow card where he took down Welbeck, Caicedo, as he was surging through.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I did see in the game, in the stadium. But yeah, I think, do you know, it's weird, of the 3 challenges, the 2 that he didn't get sent off, I thought were the one which he did get a yellow card for was the least offensive of the 3. Yeah. Like that was probably the softest one. But I mean, how the referee is making the decision, especially that one where he's basically swung at, I think it was Veltman, and then this one. Yeah, there were 2 challenges that were terrible, and it's just sort of like, how are they not getting a yellow card? And then obviously De Zerbi's got booked for his frustration, and now will miss the Grimsby game. But you can see why he's frustrated, because it's poor refereeing. And it feels
Which one did he actually get booked for? I can't remember.
The first challenge.
Yeah,
the Veltman one.
Fucking hell, I actually can't remember either now.
I think it was sort of in the middle of the pitch.
Was it the Veltman one when he completely done it?
Yes.
Yeah, the Veltman one, and then the one for me that should have been a clear yellow card, which would have been his second yellow, was the one where Caicedo was running through, took on 2 players, and then he's just taking him out, like hit him in the knees, and Caicedo's just falling down. And for me, especially again, I can watch the replays 3 or 4 times, and it was clear as day. It was just so obvious, and he's just bottled it. He's simple as that. He's bottled it. He wanted to keep 11 men, which is fair enough. I get it for like the spectacle. You don't want to ruin the spectacle. And I think it was quite about 30th minute mark or 35th minute, something like that.
Well, the second yellow. I know this sounds bizarre the way I'm saying it, but that was bang on half time. So you could see why he's sort of thinking, right, get to half time. And of course, he was taken off, and he was taken
You
off.
shouldn't think like that. That's so stupid. Like if there's a yellow card there, then give the yellow card. You shouldn't do it for the sake of the match. I understand it. When people don't get yellows for like the first crunching tackle within the first 2 minutes of the game,
the famous
so they don't want to
one
set the tone. Understand that, but go on.
No, I was going to say the famous one of that was knockout in the first minute when we won at their place.
Yes,
literally seconds into the game, he's just. That is a red. If VAR was about, that would have been a sending off.
100%.
True.
You're not giving a red at that moment, are you? So, but then I think it's just lazy refereeing.
That's funny you said "are you" because it was. I think he 2-footed "are you" as well.
No, it was Milihajevic.
Oh, you ruined the joke, man.
Sorry, encyclopedia brain going on.
Yeah, I know. I could have used that joke on anyone else, and no one would have brought me up on that.
Yeah, it's true.
But
I didn't have a clue. I was like, yeah, good joke.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I think it's just lazy refereeing. I think what disappoints me is the situations where VAR isn't used. They seem to have forgotten how to do it. Like, VAR isn't going to come into that situation because it's a second yellow. VAR isn't at use on that. So they sort of seen that and been lazy with it because they know that they know that they have this sort of, and then they suddenly panic and they go, oh no, we haven't got the safety net on this. I just think it's a lot of lazy refereeing relying on the VAR too much, and I think we've probably we've all moaned about refereeing far too much, and we all know it needs a reform. So it's a strange one.
I'm still very much of the opinion of it's not the technology, it's the people using it. It's simple as that for me. So, if we can get the officiating up to a good standard, I think we'll see that reflected in VAR, which is just not the case at the moment. But I think we can all agree Decore should have been sent off, and it would have made our evening much easier, I think, going into the second half. And talking of the second half, there wasn't actually too much, unless you boys can think of a specific moment where,
I was going to say, I think it was a weird one because we were so good. It wasn't like the most exciting match because when we normally play Palace, we're quite level. But because we're just so much better than now, it wasn't really like a exciting match to watch, if you get me. It might be a really awful football take there, but that's just when I was sitting there watching it, I was like, because we are so much better than them, that was obviously enjoyable to watch, but the match as a spectacle probably wasn't as good as it could be.
I agree with you to a degree. I just think it's... Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're much better than them. I think that goes without saying. But they were competitive yesterday. I didn't think it was a case of them sort of laying down and not competing, because especially in the first 10 minutes, even in the second half, they look like even you said, I thought the last sort of 10, the added 10 minutes, I was quite nervous. I was like, look, they can score. I think there was a chance where Amahade, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Amahade, is that how you say it?
Number 29. That's what.
He had a very good chance. I don't remember, and he dragged it wide. I think it was 93rd. 94th
Oh, yeah.
When I think Eze, done a bit of trickery on the left hand side and then cut it across to him, and he's pretty much open, and he just dragged it wide. So I
was watching Jason Steele for that as well, and I was like, why is he not moving? Is this about to go bottom corner? But it's past the post.
Exactly. And talking to Jason Steele, and you mentioned it earlier, Ben, that moment where he passed it to was that the chance I'm talking about? Maybe
I think it was.
Oh yeah,
was that the chance I'm talking about? Yeah. I think that might have been the one where he's.
Oh no, it wasn't. That the ball was eventually cleared away. I think. Yeah.
Anyway,
with the Steele one. But the funny funny thing is though, Maz, we were chanting Jason Steele, my lord, Jason Steele, whoa, Jason Steele, and then that error happened, and then everyone around me was going, "Fucking hell, Jason Steele!" Literally 10 seconds apart. It's so funny. This guy next to me pointed out. Crap.
No, but and Jack, just what do you think of Palace's performance in general? I know we always focus on Brighton, of course, but what do you think of Palace's performance in general?
It's an interesting one. Like I said, I didn't really see the 10 minutes, so I didn't see the levels they are. But they're a very odd team to watch at the moment, because I've actually weirdly watched a few of their games on TV at the moment. I watched a City game on the train on the way back from Leeds, on and off.
Did you?
Down the carriages.
You sat in front of me. I didn't even realise you were watching.
No, it wasn't for long. It was. Right. I found someone down the train who was watching it, so I watched a load of it.
Yeah. When you went and got your onion bhaji.
Oh, that was unreal. LNER, those onion bhaji on that train, absolutely delicious. Cost me about £8, but anyway. But yeah, I think they almost. It's a weird thing to watch. They almost seem to, at the moment, they drag teams down to their level. A bit like you look at the Liverpool game, you look at the Man City game, you even look at last night. We're not playing to our usual standards but that's not necessarily a slight on them, because Burnley were almost the great team at bringing teams down to the level and then hitting them where it hurts with sort of, the late goal. But I think the problem with Palace at the moment is they're bringing teams down to their level by being quite organised defensively, but they have got their attacking threat just seems completely lost.
It's just vibes, isn't it? Up
Yeah.
front?
And it's just sort of like, you've got some great talent there. I mean, I thought Elise last night was incredibly disappointing for a player that many people big up as a very good player. I thought
Palace fans rated him so highly when he joined, didn't they? Jesus
and then
Christ.
you've got Zaha's big comeback where, with all except, he was pocketed by Joel Veltman for the vast majority of that game. I think he did a very good job in Veltman in very much just sticking with him the entire game. And then, Edouard, a bloke who scored 40 goals for Celtic, and I wanted at Brighton.
So desperate.
He has been useless up front for them. And Mateta's not much better, despite his very good ability at scoring against us. But other than that, it's a strange one. They're a strange team. They look very committed to the manager, the players, but I don't think the manager's ideas are working, and I think they're going to sleepwalk into relegation if they're not careful.
Yeah.
I don't think they go down because I look at their running, and they've got some easy games. But we thought that with the sort of it feels very much like the Houghton season for them, the second Houghton season, where we go into Christmas feeling all right, feeling good with the way the team's playing, and then just not picking up points again and again and again. And you can't just be in this situation where you're like, oh, we're going to play Bournemouth, we'll get points there. Oh, we're going to play, Forest, we're going to get points there.
It never works out like that.
Well, and then Bournemouth just beat Liverpool.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that just shows the kind of standard.
And you look at us in that same situation, we were like, oh, we're going to beat Bournemouth, lost 5-0. Oh, we're going to beat Cardiff, lost 2-0. It could easily
even when we played them at home this year, they looked pretty good on the counter attack, didn't they? At times I was thinking, God, they could actually nick this.
I think they need. I don't know. I think if they sack Vieira, that would be stupid. I don't see who else they bring in because this late in the season it'll just be like Allardyce or someone terrible.
The difference is though, Jack.
Get Roy out.
I was saying
get Roy out the freezer.
I was going to say, but this was like under Chris Hughton, that was like when we were changing into a different club and a different philosophy. But for them, they have changed, and it's obviously not working. That's the difference.
I think I'll be honest, and I agree with you, Jack. I don't think they'll get relegated just simply because of the runs they've got. Yeah. But they are 3 points above the relegation zone, and they haven't won since December. So it's really worrying times for Palace, to be honest with you. And a good friend of mine, D, who's a big Palace fan, he's been he was going at me a lot. Before the games, and he asked me, he goes, do you think Crystal Palace will get relegated? And I was like, look, I hope they do. It'd be quite funny just for banter purposes, but I don't think they will get relegated just simply because I think their squads, like I really like, for example, Anderson, Gahey. I think they've got enough quality players to stay up. But I think it's quite harsh. The point I was trying to make, and I sort of diverted, was that I think it's harsh to blame it all on Vieira because I think he's actually done quite well to get them where they are at the moment. And you can see there's some kind of philosophy and some type of way he wants to play, but I just don't think it's quite fully been transcribed and sort of put on the pitch. So I just think it's a bit harsh to be honest. And I feel like everyone does it, don't they? They jump on a manager straight away. So it can't be the way the club's being ran. It can't be the chairman, because I know a lot of the Palace fans aren't happy with the chairman as well, like the way the club's being run. So it's one of them ones, but hopefully they get relegated. So
I think you can partly blame it on the club. I mean, don't want to make this a Palace what's gone wrong podcast, but I think you look at the standards we've done, and I think the problem is for them is they have had a very aging squad over years and years and years, which have slowly dropped away one by one. When they had Sacco and Benteke, they spent £30 million fees on them. When they first came in, they were really good. But now they're too old, they're gone. And the players they're bringing in, their sort of recruitment strategy isn't very good. And then you look at ours, on the other hand, who we've had aging players who've moved on. You look at the spine that came up of the team, Glenn Murray, Dale Stevens, Shane Duffy. You look at what we've got now, and we've just replaced them all brilliantly with players which are at another level. You look, we've always struggled up front. But, we've got Ferguson coming through, Caicedo to replace Stevens, Webster or Colwill or Veltman to replace Shane Duffy. So I think we're going in the right direction, and I think there is they need to have a big summer this year to fix their problems if they want to.
They have spent money on like this rebuild, haven't they? Though that's the thing, and obviously, like you said, they bought the wrong players. And for us, you can't say that.
I mean, I mean, who cares? Fuck them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to go down. It would be funny, obviously. But then
it's fun to have them.
We need our 2 cup finals a year, don't we?
Yeah,
unless we get to Wembley, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And the amount of people from other clubs are like, "Oh, this rivalry's pointless." It's great. We've got our own little rivalry going on. We don't want to be like, we don't care that you don't care. Like, this is our thing. We don't like you, and we don't like.
I know everyone always says it. There was like, it's a derby. It's like it's not. It's just it's a rivalry. It's very clearly a rivalry, and it's a bit of fun in it. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So like pretty much that's pretty much the game. So I think just to sort of recap, and from my side, I will get obviously you two as well from your sides. But just from my side, I thought pretty much from the 10th minute onwards, we pretty much dominated again. There's a few little bits where I thought, okay, cool. Like we're not like we've mentioned, not playing our best, and probably isn't the Brighton that we know and love. But we got through the game. I think that was the key thing. Just getting the win for me was just after 4 years of not beating them. I think 4 years of not hurt, but just annoyance. I think for
it's
me.
Hurt. It's hurt.
They're just annoying. They're just annoying. That's what I said this to Dee the other day. I was like, it doesn't hurt me that we keep like either losing or drawing to you. It's just annoying. Like you're a very annoying team. You're scoring in the last minute. You're playing shit. Like it's just all that kind of like annoying. You're being annoying and just like
no justice. It's no justice. It kills me.
I think considering how good we've been in all the games, like I think there's a stupid stat of 70% possession and like 200 shots,
60 shots,
and
40
it's
on target.
It's crazy.
Probably not 40 on target, but
no, it's crazy.
No, in our strikers.
And just to sort of just big up a lot of players, actually, to be fair, there was I could literally name the whole team, but for me, like the key ones for me were Estepinian. I thought Caicedo and what's his face, McAllister were exceptional. I thought they were brilliant last night. Especially McAllister, because of we've said, haven't we? Like we don't think his form's been sort of to the level we know him and what we know he can play. I thought yesterday he sort of really turned it up a notch back again. I thought he's just those little touches he does. The ones like around the corner and those little layoffs he does and little flicks and stuff. I'm just like, I just oozes class. And I thought he's brilliant. And then one player I actually want to discuss actually before we finish the game actually. And I know a lot of people watching, tuning in regularly. You know, I'm probably where I'm going with this one.
Oh, here we
Danny
go.
Welbeck.
Yeah.
Danny Welbeck. Listen, look, I have always been a vocal advocate of not playing Danny Welbeck. But no.
Look, not. I didn't realise that. I forgot that. Yeah.
Look, I've been a bit anti-Welbeck in the past. I've never slagged him off, and I've never said he's been shit or he's not good enough for the team. My thing is, when we've got Evan Ferguson as an option, I just don't understand why we're still reverting back to Danny Welbeck. That's my biggest gripe. I'm not saying he's bad for the team. I'm not saying he isn't good, because he clearly has a lot of qualities that obviously benefit us as a team, and of course De Zerbi sees it. But let's start with you, Ben. Talk to me, Danny Welbeck. Are you a fan of him starting games? Would you like him to be more of a squad player? What are your thoughts on Danny Welbeck as a whole? Because there's a pocket of fans which basically aren't happy with him starting games.
Yeah, I was surprised that he started yesterday, considering obviously Evan Ferguson. I think the majority of opinions that he is the better striker. But then again, on the flip side, if I was playing Football Manager or I was the manager in real life, I probably would start Welbeck in that game just for experience purposes only. That would literally be my only decision of starting Welbeck. I don't think he should start for us. But similar to Conor Cody in the England squad, I think he's there. He's just really, really good in the team, really, really good in the squad. A great personality to have around the team because everyone loves him, and the experience that he brings on all the other players as well.
So you're saying he's a glorified water boy? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's better than the water boy. He's not a super sub, which is unfortunate. But he is a good person to have in the team and a good option for those sorts of games where you need an experienced striker or experienced head.
That I can definitely agree with. And Jack?
I'd probably be the polar opposite to you, Maz. No, I'm a big Danny Welbeck advocate. Which I get the reason why people are a bit frustrated with him. What
a goal at Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Some of his output hasn't been amazing, but then you look at, he's got those flashes of quality, which is the reason he's there. You look at the Liverpool goal he scored. I mean, if that was scored by anybody, scored by someone in Erling Haaland, we'd be seeing that on like the beginning of Match a Day every season. And you see at the West Ham game, he just brought on and then scores a brilliant goal from range. I think I actually thought last night he had one of his better games for us, actually, because he was very much sort of the focal point, did really well at holding up the ball at times. And I thought it was the right decision to maybe bring on Ferguson late and really stretch the game. Because when he came on, he was running them down and they weren't able to get it out. And I think with the 3 games in a week, it was maybe the right decision to make that change. I thought he brought the play together quite well. But I do see what you mean. I wouldn't be in favour of him starting every game, for example. But I think it's important to have that other option because as much as people are thinking Evan Ferguson is the next, Robbie Keane. I was trying to think of an Irish example.
I've seen him being compared to Harry Kane as well.
Yeah, Harry Kane and stuff like that. And
if Haaland and Kane had a baby, it would be Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, exactly. Robbie Keane was only for the Irish edge because he's not actually at all like Robbie Keane.
And also, he was called up for the senior squad today, actually. Evan,
yeah,
so that would be their future looks good.
But I think we can't rely on him. We need to have that option to sort of come on. Yeah. And with a bit more experience, I think you're very right on the experience level. Like sometimes Ferguson, he can, I wouldn't say a headless chicken, but they're a young player. They're not going to have the greatest game all the time. And I think it's good to have that option. And he didn't play last night, so I'm not going to sit here and slag off Undav. But, I think he's, I think he's got potential, but I don't want to be relying on Ferguson and Undav as the 2 strikers. I want that experienced option who sort of floats around, contributes with a couple of goals. And the thing is, he is still scoring. I mean, he's still scoring like 3 or 4 goals a season.
Yeah.
And that's still a decent amount for a Premier League striker. If you think a Premier League
striker... 3 or 4?
Well, yeah, but for the role he plays is what I mean.
Right, yeah.
If you think, can we get a better option who's not going to start most games, who's just going to sit on the bench and is happy to sit on the bench for free, there's not going to be anyone else out there. And if you're looking for another striker, you're going to have to either take a punt on a young striker, like we have with Undav, who hasn't contributed much.
He wasn't even that young, though, I wouldn't say.
No, he wouldn't, but, a gamble of a striker. Or you're going to have to get, or you're going to have to pay money for an experienced man, like someone like maybe Danny Ings. Obviously, he scores more, but you're going to have to put a fee into it. So I think him in the squad, him staying around, it works perfectly for us. And I think it works well.
I've got a quick question. Yeah. Do you think, I saw you, Maz, do you think Danny Welbeck retires at Brighton?
What is he now? 32, 33? Still.
He might be
I think he's still. I think he's relatively still. Yeah, I think he's 32, 33. That's a good question. I think he probably will. I think he generally. Look, I agree with both with exactly what you two have said. Like he's definitely a great option to have in the squad. My biggest thing is just I didn't want him in the starting lineup just because I feel like Ferguson just brings more. Just that youthfulness, I think that's what it is. And of course, Danny Welbeck still can get around. Like it's not like he's like a.
He's 32.
Yeah, he's 32. There you go, knowledge. Yeah. I think to answer your question, Ben, I hope he does. Do you know what? Like I hope he is a squad player. Like you said, I think he's great influence around the dressing room. I think he's got that experience of playing at a high level. Like he's been at Man United, he's been at Arsenal, he's played Champions League football. Like he's no schmuck, he's no mug. So to have that around the squad is definitely great. And we saw with Lallana as well signing his contract extension, which is actually something I will bring up as well. But yeah, I think I'd like to see him retire here at Brighton because I think he can definitely go on to go coaching. I think he'd be a great coach. So to even have him like in the background teaching the young strikers coming through, I think it'd be great value.
Yeah.
And we don't want to burn Ferguson out. That's what I was going to say. Because I suppose we've kind of done that with another Irish striker a little bit, where I think we may have relied on him a little bit too much, and could have potentially burnt him out. Obviously, I think the talent level with Ferguson is much, much higher. But, there was a period where we were starting Connolly almost every game and, he didn't crack on. So we don't want to put all our eggs in that basket.
Yeah, 100%.
I was going to say something else then, but I think Danny Welbeck, I would love him to retire at Brighton, but for some reason I can just see him doing a stint in the MLS, like Toronto, just signing him, something like that.
I would.
Why not?
Get your peas up, hang out at Drake.
Get your money up.
LAFC.
That's really, very interesting debate about the whole Welbeck thing. And then and talking of Adam Lallana, of course he signed a contract extension. Again, another player that I've had my qualms with in the past, but I will say from the bat, I think it's a little bit different with Lallana, just simply because again. It's sort of similar to Welbeck, to be fair. He has got the experience. He has won it. He's won. He's been played at the highest level under some incredible managers. And I think it's great for him to be in and around the squad, to pass on his wisdom, and we know he's not going to start games. Now that's my biggest thing with him is I can accept that because he's sort of like, I think because of his injuries record, and the same with Welbeck, because they're injury records, that's what I've been frustrated about. Is I know they can't help that. They're not purposefully getting injured. I'm not saying they're going out playing to get injured, but
not like that little Liverpool one where he came on, shook John, and then went down injured 5 minutes later.
That one maybe, one maybe.
That's horrible.
But yeah,
so Mads, you say like he doesn't start. I think he does start when he's fit.
Yeah,
I think he's that good.
He's
been so good. I know that's the tricky thing.
Who did you drop?
He is just so good. He links up so well with all the players. Leicester's in my head because it's more recent away. When he was on the pitch, we were playing so good, and as soon as he got injured, it just went downhill.
But this is the thing, like, how many times are we going to be just accepting that he gets injured all the time? Like, that's what's my frustration is, like, we can't keep getting away with this.
Didn't De Zerbi say to Bloom or something like that the other week? He was like, he really wants Lallana to stay, and then obviously 2 weeks fast forward, he's got a new contract. So.
I do agree with the injury point. I mean, obviously he's injured all the time, but it's strange actually, isn't it, that he's been here for 3 years. Getting up to his 3rd season here. But I think his best football has been this season by far and away for us. Like, he's probably not playing as much as he wants, and there is almost, I think we do have a little bit in worry that we don't always have someone to step into his role when he's not playing. We can play McAllister there. I think maybe slightly some of the reason that McAllister, I wouldn't say he's off form, but probably hasn't been the form just before the World Cup. I mean, he still scored like 5 goals or a couple of goals, so we shouldn't really complain too much. But the reason for a little bit of the drop off is because he's moved into Lallana's role, I think, more and playing in that more central role rather than deeper, where he was sort of playing in the box to box.
Yeah, he's got more responsibilities.
But I think it's good to keep him on board. Like, I think his best football's been played this season. De Zerbi likes him, and if we can keep De Zerbi happy, and because as much as I don't want to tempt fate, like already you can see that he's an elite manager. And if we can keep him happy as much as we want, that is only a good thing for us.
Give him anything.
Give him anything. But I think it's good, and he's great for the squad. You watch those pitch side videos, and every time they get back into the training changing room, he's there, ready to talk to them, interact with them all at every single game.
Again, talking about Welbeck going on to management and coaching. I think Lallana's. I think he's already doing his coaching badges. I think. I'm pretty sure. That's another example of that. And before we get on to Grimsby preview, another potential contract extension I think is pretty much about to be signed. Of course, Solomon March. I don't know if that's his full name, but I'm going to call him Solomon.
It is Solomon.
There you go. Yep, Solly March. He's going to be signing a new contract, especially after his goal yesterday. Could it be better timed? And we'll talk about the England call-ups as well, because obviously he was heavily, linked with getting an England call-up. But clearly, Gareth Southgate has other ideas, and him and Dunk haven't been called up once again. So let's start with quickly the contract extension. And Jack, we'll start with you. Of course, I mean, I'm sure I know what your answer is going to be, but are you happy with Solly March signing?
If you're happy, and
100%. Like, I think it's a great contract extension. He obviously likes playing here. He's a local lad. It works really well for us. If it fends off interest, I mean, it's strange though, isn't it? He's in such good form, but I can't see there being interest from up the league. I know that sounds a bit harsh on him.
No, agreed.
But it's not something where I think clubs are clamouring for him.
He reminds me of like how Shawcross at Stoke was always like. No, but like how Shawcross was like. He was always at Stoke for ages, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's better than Stoke. He's better than Stoke. He can play for a better team than Stoke." But then he just never left, and he sort of just stayed there for a long time. That's the sort of vibes I'm getting off March.
That was a great analogy. I like this Ryan Shawcross out of nowhere.
Yeah,
knowledge. Yeah, isn't he playing MLS now? I think he is.
I think so. Yeah, he's
I think he's playing for Miami.
Danny Welbeck.
Yeah,
I think he's out
Danny
America,
Welbeck playing with him soon.
Yeah, but I agree. I think he'll be great. Contract extension. He's happy. It works for him. De Zerbi loves him. It's very interesting that he's sort of, I don't know whether it's a dig at Potter or he sort of made a comment. All I needed was someone to put their arm around me and sort of give me the confidence. And I think that always was the issue with March. Like, I'll be as guilty after that Charlton game. I was very much. I wasn't in the. I think I said something along the lines of, if Solly doesn't add goals to his game and assist, then you've got to question whether he is good enough. you look at him now, and he's obviously listened to me or seen my tweet and gone, "I'm going to add goals and assists to the game."
Well, we had Joel Voltman looking our story last night, so I think the players do like to have a little look.
Don't follow us though. That's the annoying thing. You'll just see him in our stories, and you're like, "Just follow us, mate." Although the assistant manager followed us the other week, didn't he?
Oh, Andrea Maldera, what a man! I love his Instagram. Is my favourite thing. I love it.
It's so good.
It's like it's very much like someone's dad using it. You like post the stuff.
About to say,
he posts the same stuff twice loads of times. I absolutely love it. But back to March. I think But the thing is with him, it always was a confidence issue. I think in that you think when he first came into the team under Houghton and Garcia all those years ago, his best thing was his pace, and he would take on a man. And all of a sudden, I think when he got that bad injury, got to the Premier League, he stopped taking people on. And I think De Zerbi and the coaching staff and everybody sort of said to him, take a man on, and you have the confidence. And he's just had the confidence to do that. And look at him now; he's been fantastic. So
I think he's got the 5th most successful dribbles in the Premier League this season.
Yeah,
I love it. You know how Gross has got the Gross turn. I feel like March has got his own I feel like he's very predictable, but he's not. He's one of those players where you'll be like, oh, I know what he's going to do. He's going to either chop inside, or he does his he loves doing that, doesn't he? Where he looks about to cross and then chops it. He loves doing that little move, and I'm just like, you seem like a very predictable player, but players still don't know what you're going to do, which I think is a skill in itself, to be honest with you.
I think that's because he does it so often, and especially for Gross, they're like, I think defenders he's not going to do it again. There's no chance he's going to do it again. He does it again, so they just second guess him.
He almost sprints in slow motion. I know that's probably a terrible analogy, but I know exactly what you mean. I can think it from a West Ham game where he almost gets to that defender on the edge of the box and sort of slowly turns him and chops and sort of almost walks to the byline, but he's sprinting. He's very good at that.
It's a skill in itself, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
And then finally, before we get into Grimsby, the England call-ups. March and Dunk obviously miss out once again. I think they were Webb's obviously been injured, so he probably was never in with a shout. I'm trying to look through the team. There's not
Colwell. I think he was in with a shout.
Got injured, obviously.
But for the injury,
got injured as well. But the big ones, I suppose, for recent times, Dunk obviously playing really well at centre back, and of course March getting those goals and assists, as we just mentioned. Ben, we'll start with you, mate. Does it come as a surprise to you at all at this stage?
It actually somehow it does, even though I tell myself not that. I tell myself it's not going to happen, and they're not going to get called up. But then there's always that little bit of me that goes, but they've been so good, then surely they will, and they never do. It's just typical. I can kind of understand Southgate for the Solly March one, because if you look at the players that are ahead of him, they are some unbelievable players. Maybe not on form right now, but in terms of what the games that are coming up, they've got Italy. It's a big game. I think it would be strange if you, for example, dropped Jack Grealish and then brought Solly March in, because realistically, that's probably the only change you would make. Then centre backs, that's a weird one. Dunk is miles above 3 or 4 of those centre backs that are in that team right now, and he still gets overlooked, and it just does not make sense. It's just classic, isn't it?
How about you, Jack? Do you?
I agree that it doesn't surprise me. It's interesting. There is a little snippet of him talking about the two players, and I agree with what Ben said. I think in the actual interview, Southgate says, Solly March has been playing really well, but you look at who's in front of him, and you've got Rashford, Foden, Grealish, and
Saka.
They're 4 fantastic players who, as good as Solly March has been, they definitely get in over them. And I think I would have been disappointed if I'd seen someone like Bowen in the squad. And that's not to say that Jared Bowen is bad, but, that team has not been on form at all. And he's a player who sort of, there's a couple of places. It almost feels like there's a core to the England squad, and then there's places up for grabs on top of that core. And if he was one of those players that got in, but you look at it's just some odd calls. I know you probably don't need another winger, but Conor Gallagher in the squad, that's strange. But what was disappointing with that thing that Southgate said, which I thought was a bit weird, is he's asked about both players, and he makes the excellent point on Solly March. But he can't make that exact same point with Dunk.
Yeah, he did.
Why not go back to Dunk and say, well, give me the justification. Cody was obviously dropped out.
Let's go through the ones that were picked. So you got Eric Dyer, Mark Gahey, Harry Maguire and John Stones as your 4 centre-backs, right? Now, I personally argue that Harry Maguire has been in shocking football. Like, hasn't played for Man United. When he has, he's been not very good. And then John Stones, I think, is a given. Like, he's very good, and he plays from City most times. And then you've got Mark Gahey, who I thought, if you compared Dunk and Gahey last night, I don't think there was, you can't say Gahey was way better, or you can see why Gahey's picked over Dunk. I just don't think that was the case.
You can tell Gareth Southgate used to play for Palace, can't you?
Yeah. And then the final one, obviously, Eric Dyer, who, again, he's had a few injuries, suspensions.
Eric Diabolical, more like.
Yeah. But I just feel like those 4, if you name them out loud, apart from John Stones, the other 3, you could easily put Dunk over them.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I think there's obviously something Southgate doesn't like about Dunk, and I don't know what it is, whether he doesn't fit with the group.
What can you not like? And that's not being biased.
Or something like. I think there's something more like there's like a big cloud over it,
or something.
Yeah, something like that. But it's a strange one because and you're probably not going to agree with this, but I always think Maguire's very good for England, so you can't drop him. He's never let us down for England. He's a different player.
But I don't like that. I don't like that rationale because.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Fair. And I agree with you. He does. He definitely does play well for England. That's no sort of thing I'm arguing here. But like, he's been out of form. He's not played for Man United. And the big thing for me is Southgate has come out and said when he first took over, I will pick players on merit, on form. And he's just not done that. Like, pretty much every selection he's done. So that's my biggest thing with him is like, he's just chatting shit. Like, at least don't come out and say, oh yeah, I'm going to pick people on form and on merit. And, there's no bias. There's no big club bias. When there clearly is. Like, you're picking a Man United player purely because he plays for Man United. He's not playing well. He's not even playing, let alone playing well.
If he was an Everton player, he would not be in the team.
No chance.
He'd be so far away.
That's my biggest gripe with it all.
My only thing I can understand is that maybe if these were friendlies, like when Dunk was called up, it was a friendly against USA. That's when they kind of give those like rewarded caps out. But these are 2 European qualifiers, aren't they, against Italy and Ukraine?
I can see that perspective.
I think it's the Dyer and Gueye thing, though. Like, I don't think either of those 2 have particularly justified their reasoning for getting in the squad. Guaye's got age on his side, so I will give him that. But I think, for me, like I said, it's this whole core group thing. So you've got the core, and you've got like the places up for grabs. For me, the 2 core players are Maguire and Stones, who always get in the squad because they obviously work well together. Then the other ones should be on merit. And I don't think Dyer's done enough to sort of be as a part of that core and be guaranteed a place in the squad. Not that he's been terrible, but he's not been particularly good either. Standout quality either.
No, 100%. Well, listen, we could talk about this all night, but let's get on to...
You just done a Josh Denzel then at the overlap. He always gets taken a piss out of when he goes, we could talk about this all the time. People meme it. Yeah,
I generally never...
Every single segue he does is like, mate, you need to learn
another segue.
The level, the level of presenter he is.
So,
I know. It just reminds me of him now.
He's not a bad person to be compared to.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
Funny enough, he actually used to work at Sport Bible as well. So
whoa.
and then went on Love Island. So Maz, you going?
I don't think I'm good looking enough, or got a 6-pack. So,
and also you have a girlfriend,
and I have. That's the biggest part of that whole
thing. That's the big problem. Yeah.
Sylvia, if you're watching, that was all part of the joke.
You should do a Lucinda and get back with Aaron Connolly.
Swiftly moving on, we can talk about this.
Actually,
all
night. Sorry. Speaking of Lucinda, it's so weird. Last night or the night before, she came up as like a suggested friend on Facebook. Really random. Lucinda
Strafford. Yeah. Right. Anyway. Yeah. Right. Grimsby boys. Grimsby. Big game. Like a lot of fans have sort of dismissed Grimsby. I know we haven't. None of us here have.
I'm scared.
But there's a pocket of fans. I like saying that, a pocket of fans, because that is what it is. Sort of dismissed Grimsby straight away, and they're like, "Oh, this should be an easy way in." Which, on paper, if you're going to base it on leagues, the league pyramid, the football pyramid, it should be a relatively straightforward game. But as we know, the magic of the FA Cup never allows that. So, Jack, start us off, mate. How do you see this tie going?
Yeah, it's a tricky one to predict because I also don't want to be disrespectful to Grimsby. Like, they've got to the place that they are because they've done well.
Southampton to get here,
they beat Southampton. You look at their run though, and I'm not dismissing their run because they've beaten teams in higher divisions. I think every single round almost. So with all credit to that, but I think what we've done quite well in this, what they haven't come up against yet, which is us, is a team from a higher division that is banging form or not at home. I think if we'd drawn Grimsby at their place, it would be a very tough prospect. Going to it reminded me of that Lincoln game all those years ago where we drew non-league Lincoln in the fourth round of the Cup and lost 3-1 with Tamori scoring an own goal in his debut.
Oh yeah, was that his debut?
Yeah, that was his debut. Yeah, and he looked terrified. Like he looked absolutely like.
And now look at him playing. He's getting man of the matches in Champions League.
Exactly. But it's and I look at that sort of game, and they beat Plymouth 5-1 there. That was no mean feat. Plymouth were banging form. They beat Cambridge down at Cambridge. They're not banging form. They're sort of like a mid-table floating team. They beat Luton. That's another great win. I'll give them credit, but they did take a replay and having to take them back to their place. And then beat Southampton. With all respect to Southampton and Grimsby, but Southampton have been useless this season.
And 2 penalties as well.
2 penalties as well. One was a bit tenuous. I'm not trying to demean it as well, but it was a tenuous penalty that they got there. So I'm looking forward to the game. It's a big game. I think we should go full strength. I don't think we should disrespect them at all. We need to go bang out and just get it done. I think it'll be a cracking game. They've got 5,000 inflatable fish coming down.
That's going to be so fun.
That's going to be an interesting one. And I think it'll be a good game. It'll be a good spectacle. And I don't think we've really been in this position before in an FA Cup tie where everybody's almost against us. I think not against us, but we're the team ruining the underdog story this time.
Yes, yeah, we're usually the underdogs.
Yeah, and
or in our history, we've always been the underdogs. But now we're the big. Well, I was going to say giant, but we're the scalp that people want to get.
Yeah.
I think I'm gutted I can't go, but I think that I really wish I would go or could go. Sorry. But just to see those inflatable fish, I think the atmosphere will be class for them. They'll be banging for them, those fans.
Also, I'm not going to claim I'm an expert in Grimsby by any.
You went to Grimsby,
but I actually went to Grimsby once. Yeah, I did. I did the Soccer Saturday challenge, and I'll never forget. Second minute, Simeon Jackson. What a throwback he is.
We tried to sign him.
Yeah, Simeon Jackson. He was actually half decent, to be fair. But this was towards the end of his career, and then he fucking scored. And then about literally a second later, West Brom scored, so we would have gone up to Birmingham. It went from Grimsby to Birmingham. But anyway, just looking at the Grimsby squad, especially going forward, they've actually got their most capped in terms of appearances this season is going forward. This is a 23-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 20-year-old. And a 26-year-old. So, going forward, they've got some young bucks. Obviously, they're going to be. I think when it comes to a youthful team or you got a lot of young players in the team, they're always there to prove a point. As in, they want to show I can play it. I can be in amongst the big boys. Try and get a big move as well. That's always a thing probably on their mind. I know that's just a very sort of isolated thing. And I'm not saying that's going to be them winning the game. Because
I can see what you're saying. Yeah,
just because they've got young strikers, they're going to win the game. I'm not saying
it's a big opportunity.
It's a big opportunity, and even looking through the rest of their squad, a lot of their players, they actually got quite a relatively young team, with the exception of a few sort of over 30s players in there. It should be an interesting tie, I think.
I'm having a look at their squad now. I mean, they weren't really fancied to go up last year as well, which I think is quite interesting. They do quite like being the plucky underdog. You look at who was in that division last year. You obviously had Wrexham, Chesterfield, all the big clubs in that division. So it's interesting that they sort of forced their way up. I mean, looking at their team, obviously I have an encyclopedic knowledge of football because I don't have a lot to do, but I'm looking at a lot of names, and they're quite decent players. I mean, their goalkeeper is a New Zealander international, so he plays internationally for New Zealand, Max Crocombe, and they've got Sean Scannell, he's in the squad.
Oh, Sean Scannell,
what's his name?
Wasn't he ex-Palace?
Ex-Palace, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting a goal. Number 44, do like the number 44, it's my favourite number. Then they've got John McAtee, who's the brother of the Man City.
James McAtee.
Who's a very talented player.
Sheffield United, isn't he?
Yeah, his brother's at Sheffield United. He's former City Academy as well, John McAtee. He used to play for Scunthorpe, who is a team of my old flatmate. So I used to watch them quite a lot, and he was quite decent for them. As well as Stephen Wern, who's a ex-Torquay player, who's a very decent player on his day, although I don't think he's been very good. And of course, sorry, I'm giving you a full breakdown.
No, this is good, mate.
And And we've got Otis Khan as well, who was unbelievable for me on Football Manager. I don't know if he's any good in real life, but he got Dulwich Hamlet to the Premier League.
To burst their bubble just a tiny bit, they're 15th in the table this season, which is by no means that they're literally bang in the middle of the table, pretty much. And they've won 12 and they've lost 13 and drawn 9. So they can be beaten by people in their league. So you'd hope that a team in the Premier League, and again without sort of tempting fate, we should be winning this. But again, like we've mentioned many times, it's going to be. It generally will be a difficult game. Not even just saying that to be like, oh yeah, like make sure we don't get embarrassed. But like generally, it will be a tough game. Yeah. Like we've said, the fact they've even got this far shows, and the caliber of teams they've beaten to get here shows there will be a tough test. So.
The fact they're in the conference last year is crazy. And Jack, like you said, they just beat Wrexham, didn't they?
I mean, that was a crazy game. They beat them 5-4. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was when they showed Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney sitting in the stand. Oh, yeah. And then they panned the camera down. They had Lloyd Griffiths and Rob Beckett. Grimsby end.
We need to try and get Lloyd on. Matt's definitely message him.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, no, I think it's. I think it's. What I have noticed, which I thought was quite funny, they're resting players in the league games before FA Cup ties. I thought it's quite funny because they do have nothing to play for really for the rest of the season.
They're literally banging in the middle. Yeah, they can't get promoted and they
can't really touch playoffs. They can't. So this is their big moment for the end of the season. This is their cup final. In a way, and I think the relegation places are pretty much sorted out. Sorry to Crawley Town if there's
no.
I think they're going down this season.
What? Really?
Yeah, they're not good. So there'll be one team in Sussex again, but I think Well,
to be fair, they're actually a point behind Hartlepool.
Oh, I think they won the other week. To be fair,
with 2 games in hand, so they still can do it.
They could just about
Teddy Jenks there, isn't he?
He's injured for the rest of the season, but now Jack Spong is there, another Brighton legend. So
boy,
Brighton legend.
Yeah.
He was actually, let's have a look, Spong didn't even play last game, and they won 3-1. So.
He took part in my favourite ever substitution, which was coming off Gaetan Bong to be replaced with Jack Spong.
That is very good.
In that Villa game where we played like an under-21 side. That was a great day.
That is class. Love that. Well, boys, listen, before we wrap up, score predictions, Ben, for Grimsby, score predictions?
3-0 Brighton.
Nice, I was going to go for that. But Jack, score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was
Two early goals. Two early goals and then
chill for a bit. I'm going to go 3-0 as well, Ben. So 3-0, 3-0 and 2-0. There you go. That is our Grimsby preview. Of course, a big game on Sunday. We cannot wait. And then, there you go. Another fantastic podcast from the boys, of course. Now, comments below. Jack, you haven't been on for a while, so would you like to give us a comments below, please?
There were a lot of rumours that I'd been sacked from the podcast, mainly started by a friend of mine called Matt, who's a bald man. Don't know why I said that.
Because
he's bald. And does backflips on trains. What a man!
Yeah, that's good crack.
But I'm gonna. Do you know what? Comment underneath. Matt is bald.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, please actually do that. So
please
good.
I
do want to add because I wasn't able to come on the Leeds episode because I was working, but so I went to Leeds with Jack and his motley crew, and they're so much fun. They're great cracks. So fair play to them.
Even though I didn't get the train up, that due to some massive cock up. But it's fine.
Shout out to all them boys.
Chopper up, did you?
No, basically they picked the one train I'm not allowed to use.
Why aren't you allowed to use
it? Because it said...
Are you banned?
It's a different train company to the one I'm meant to use. That's a really boring answer. Let's just say I'm banned from Grand
Central. For being a legend.
For stealing their onion bargee pasties.
Exactly.
Well, listen, boys, thank you so much for joining us, Jack. And of course, Ben, as per usual. Make sure you stream it if you're listening to this on Spotify. Give us all the good reviews on Apple as well. Really much appreciated. And of course, if you watch on YouTube, hit the like... I can't even speak. Comment, the comment. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really appreciate you. And
Matt is bald.
Matt is bald. Don't forget to comment down below. And we'll see you next week after the Grimsby game. And Ryan shall be returning.
Yes, sir.
Peace. See you later.